Okay, hello everyone. This is Mike and Rainbow from Dimensional Walking. And today we are going to talk about, and it's probably going to be mainly Rainbow, but I'm going to be here to support her.
Well, I had some ideas that I wanted to get across to everybody, so I thought,
Well, wait, let me tell everybody what it is.
well, I'm
What's the
just gonna.
title? Oh, you want to do it?
No, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Because I don't have much to say, so I'm going to say what I can say. Uh, this is going to be about alien dual realities, and Rainbow will explain what that means. Rainbow?
You're supposed to have more questions for me.
Oh, I have questions for you. Okay. So I was told by you and other people that I've interviewed over the past that can become quite possessive of their little groups that they of humans that they may control or abduct or have contact with, etc. So tell us about it.
Well, when I was very young, there was a variety of different groups that used to work with me. One was Small Grays, and I remember late at night being on the the east side of Albuquerque and doing stuff with them. And I remember I would just come when I would come back and I'd wake up from my sleep, I would be exhausted and tired, and I would actually have bruise marks on me because they'd have us actually climbing the top of roofs and doing different things. And I think it was part of the experience of learning to levitate and all of that. But one thing that I remember is that I had one specific alien that was I was very close to, and his name was Meek Mohan. And Meek Mohan was short like the Greys and had the same body as the Greys, but he was like a light, milky chalk like color. And Meek Mohan was actually a little bit more compassionate with me, where I noticed that there was a lot of these alien groups that just didn't care. They were just very indifferent, cold, and in working with all these different groups, it made me realize when I was young that I worked with the same groups. I worked with the Men in Black. Some of them did some training with me. I think there were some military groups that I worked with who were working with the Greys. But I realized as I got older that this when I was younger, the same groups were always working with me. And I wondered if they'd always worked with my sisters as well. My sisters are just now starting to remember stuff. So it's a family thing. And my mom and dad were always very afraid of this topic. You could never talk to them about it. They were extremely religious, and it was a very scary type of topic. But it occurred to me that in having these experiences, when Michael and I had the experiences with the reptilians, what happened with the Greys or any of the groups that worked with me as a child? Did they know with those experiences with the reptilians? Did they know that they were doing something with me? Are they protective? Do they talk to each other? Do different groups share information? Or do they just have generational families that specific groups actually just have data on, and they continually go and do the abductions and things like that? So I thought it would be an interesting topic of discussion to think about this and wonder what you guys all thought or what you think about. Are they protective of you? Did you ever feel like other groups couldn't come in and do anything with you, or did you just feel like that whoever abducted you, and that was that? So
Okay.
what do you think?
Well, I mean, I guess over the interviews I've done, and I guess a little bit of my own personal experiences, I always got the feeling that, and other people have kind of hinted to it too, that there seemed to be, they would always kind of see the same group. When they were abducted, they seen some of the characters in there. So you got to feel that they were kind of their I don't want to say
Their property.
their property. I guess,
Yeah.
yeah, that's sort of what it is, I guess, in our terms. But it gave that feeling because it was always, oh, I remember seeing, they would say, well, I remember seeing this one, or I saw this same being here in this one. And
Yeah.
this went on for years. So you had a feeling that there weren't any new players coming into the game at all. So
Yeah.
that was part of the issue. So yeah, I tend to agree that. I don't, nobody actually came out and said that, but now that you brought it up in a topic, yes, I definitely agree. So, so what about, you had mentioned at the time before that, well, did you say, did you talk about the Greys that they kind of track things? They kind of put things together? They kind of watched over this whole process?
Well, it's just you have to wonder what specific groups are watching what everybody is doing. It's just kind of like this different levels of alien groups. Who's watching who doing what? So I think that with the young with the Greys when I was young, I think that there's obviously somebody who was working with them who were the taller Greys, and I remember seeing the mantids, and so the Greys worked with the mantids, and so I've always thought that when I was young, and I remember the mantids were the ones in charge. The Greys did what they were told to do.
Sure. Right.
So I never felt that the Greys that I was working with as a child were necessarily in charge of, like, in a, like, I think they were just doing what they were told. They were the worker bees that worked with me, but there was somebody over them. So I think they were just told what to do. But then who was telling them what to do? So to me, I remember it being the mantids. But who's telling the mantids what to do? So I don't know who was telling the mantids what to do. I don't know how the different levels of authority go in the alien world. I have no idea. So it's like, do they all work together or do they not? Is there one group that is actually trying to get more groupings of people to get more data or whatever they're trying to get, or DNA or whatever they're doing, or more samples of whatever we have in our bodies? Because I remember specifically being shown where they go into the back of the spine and they get that spinal fluid, and they use that actually, and they showed me how they use it. So I have vivid memory. I actually remember seeing this, and actually them showing a mantid showing me what they do and how the spinal fluid actually helps the cloning of, or the smaller Greys. They have a degenerative problem, and our spinal fluid actually is something that they use in big vats in this liquid to help them regain some of their I'm not a doctor, so I don't really know exactly in depth what this mantid had said to me, because I just remember seeing these aliens in these big vats, these oval vats. They were like glass, and they were in a fetal position. And I just remember them floating in this liquid, and then they had the spinal fluid in the liquid, and how they mixed it together is they had to, I do remember them saying something, they had to be in there for weeks in order for it to help them with something to do with, I don't know if it's their nervous system. I don't know, neuropathy. I have no idea, but that's just what I remember seeing. So I just have vivid memory of stuff, but I don't necessarily understand why I have these memories at these certain points. And I often wonder, when you remember things, what happens with these groups? Do they know that you remember? What do they? It just, as you can see, everybody, what happens is that when you start thinking this way and you start having these memories come back to you, you have more questions than answers, and there's 1,000 more questions to a couple answers. Who knows?
So you brought up a term in the past, and you had talked briefly about it with me, something called a soul pleaser. What was a soul pleaser?
Well,
Talk about that for a minute.
when I was 40, and all these memories came back to me, I was told by a specific group of Greys that there are certain human souls that they actually are very protective over. And there's something unique and special about these souls. There's something that they don't want other alien groups to get a hold of. And I'm going to tell you all this just in the beginning, that this can sound like a fictional story, or a great sci-fi story, and yeah, it probably could, but this is what they had told me when I had my memories back, and then I started having a lot of visitations when I was 40. So they told me that, and when they say soul pleasers, they're not talking about it literally like in our sense of a soul pleaser. They don't use our words correctly. So it's a bad way of putting what they do, but that's what they call themselves. And they take certain souls and they place them in human bodies. And what they'll do is if a baby is not going to make it, and the baby dies, they'll place another soul in the body, and they'll help regenerate the body. And that's what they said they did to me, because I almost died when I was a baby. As a matter of fact, I was supposed to die, from what the body that I was in was this body was supposed to die. And anyways, they said that there's something unique about certain souls, and I don't know if it's, they didn't say anything specific, but they did say that it's something about specific, what we carry with us that other alien groups want. And so this is why I brought this up to Michael, is not only are certain alien groups protective, do they protect us, but do they place us somewhere where we won't get harmed? So even bringing this up could maybe bring me into danger, who knows? But they also made a statement about regression. They said that they're not fans of regression because they felt that there's markers where when you regress back to certain experiences where other groups can find you. Now this could be, maybe a passive aggressive way of keeping everybody in check and in line. I don't know. But what I do know is that there are certain humans that they keep a check on because there's something different and unique about them. I don't think there's anything special or unique about me at all. I'll be the first one to tell you that. But that's just what this group had told me. Do any of you have any experiences or information regarding this? Because I haven't heard it much. Mm-hmm. And Michael and I would like to know if you have anything to add to this.
Okay. So, Rainbow, tell us about what happens when you're either in a dream state or you're being abducted or having contact or something, and one of the alien groups or one of the aliens directly try to hand you something.
Oh, yeah. Now, that's something we can even add to this actual topic. So why don't we go ahead and just end here, and we'll do a part 2.
Okay, so we'll put this out on part 2, and we'll see this will be, part 2 will be right after part 1. So anyways, with all that said, we are going to end this one, and we need your subscriptions. You want to send us any direct private comments, send it to dimensionalwalking@gmail.com. If you like us. And that's it. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.